What up? It's your boy T-Bear and reaction. Gonna do some leftovers right here. So we are continuing. We're gonna continue to somewhat close it up as we are celebrating 40 years of one of the most iconic boy bands of all time. Start right here. That's not the New Edition though. So I went to the album retrospective of their first album, their first albums, their first four albums. First four albums: Candy Girl, the self-titled album, All for Love, as well as and Under the Blue Moon, as well as solo albums from early solo album of a future New Edition member, Giant Gill, and would be a former member of New Edition, Bobby Brown. Now we're back to New Edition as we get to one of the most iconic albums from another iconic album, but the iconic albums for New Edition. Well, then they got their big blow up from as well too, including the new member who I did a solo reaction to as well too. That's none of the Giant Gill. This is New Edition on their infamous album Heartbreak. Heartbreak was stepped into the New Jack era. Was a pivotal part of the New Jack Swing era of music world too, with the helps of Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis with the Flight Time choreographed producing their album as well too, giving them their thriller and their control. So yeah, this is definitely something that role model the bubblegum sound they were usually known for in the 80s, the early 80s, mid 80s to now being full grown sound, along with a grown sound of Giant Gill, who had already had that grown sound at an early age, but now it was time though as well too. And I will say, when I was a bigger Bobby Brown fan than Giant Gill as a younger, but when I grow older, I appreciated Giant Gill even more as well too. When I got a little older. But anyway, this is an iconic album as well too, the Heartbreak. So this was from Mr. DJ and DJ with the album retrospective of New Edition Heartbreak 1988 as well too. Also, I see he did a review in the Michael Jackson Thriller 40 documentary. I'm trying to find time to watch that as well too. Me and the wife as well too. I think we have Showtime, so we're going to check it out possibly this weekend. Well, other than that, without further ado, let's check it out.
They took us to the next level of New Edition, coming out of the little boy band stage and going into men. We brought Johnny into the group on that album, and it was just a lot of transition things going on that Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis, they made happen in the way that you saw us. When we look at that album, we saw a lot of growth and a lot of change in New Edition right there.
Hold on, let me make sure the quality is fine too. Yep, the quality wasn't that good. Let's put it up a little bit.
What's up, YouTube? Back at you with another video. If you haven't already, check out my video essays on Ralph Tresvant's Living in a Dream, Bobby Brown's Mystical Magic, New Edition's Tender Love, Every Little Step, as well as the album retrospectives on the Candy Girl, New Edition, All for Love, King of Stage, Under the Blue Moon, and Chemistry. In each video, I dive into interesting topics.
Cool. You saw right there. But I will eventually do the video essays on all the songs that he just posted before he's talk about the album.
Not commonly known about New Edition. Following the release of New Edition's Under the Blue Moon album, tensions between Ralph Tresvant and the other members of New Edition reached a breaking point. Without Bobby Brown, more emphasis was placed on Ralph, who would sing lead on 9 of the 10 songs on the album, relegating Ronnie, Ricky, and Mike further into background roles, creating a personal divide that would extend off stage. The culmination of these issues, in addition to seeing Bobby Brown's solo success, would fuel Ralph's solo aspirations, threatening the group's future. In this video, I'll be discussing the history leading up to and slightly after the Heartbreak album. While you're here, be sure to hit the like and subscribe button, and without further ado, let's get into it. In 1987, New Edition will receive the award for Favorite R&B Soul Group at the American Music Awards. Immediately after the ceremony, a standoff occurred between Ralph and the other members, where the resentments of the latter were made clear, resulting in a falling out and a total breakdown in communication. Ronnie, Ricky, and Mike will be forced to perform without him for the first time at the Lou Rawls Parade of Stars telethon. Ralph will begin working on what would have been his first solo album, Living in a Dream. Aware of Ralph's intentions to go solo, Michael Bivins would approach Johnny Gill at a concert and offer him the opportunity to join New Edition.
Talking, yo, what's happening, all that kind of stuff. We hung out briefly, and then I want to say Michael was probably the one that that I was at a concert, a Whispers concert in L.A. He was the one that said, "Yo, let me holler at you for a minute," and he goes, "Do you So let me ask you a question. Like, do you feel like you got your just due, like, as a singer?" And I
this was like literally what they did the movie too on the series on the biopic. Wow.
Looked and I did this and I went.
He pulling out his empty pockets.
No, not really. So, and he asked me and invited me to come to lunch the next day with them. And I was like, sure, because I was in LA, I wasn't doing anything, and went to lunch, and I'm thinking nothing about it. Then he asked me, say, hey, you want to come check our show out? Because we were playing, they was doing the Ice Capades or something. So I said, yeah, no problem. Then he calls me.
Wait. Ice Capades, wow.
That doesn't exist anymore? Is that not a thing?
No, just New Edition and Ice Capades.
Right.
They actually performed at the house somewhere in there.
New Edition on Ice.
Yeah.
Just a halftime show. Just a halftime.
I know, I'm not clowning. Guys, don't kill me. I love y'all.
So then they asked me to invite me to lunch again the next day, and I'm going, what the hell? I said, yeah, I'll go. And that's when we sat around and started talking, and then they asked me about being a part of the group. They was talking about they wanted to go back to having a fifth member so that the choreography can look more effective and more. Little did I know it was far from what that was. I had no idea that there was the kind of turmoil that was going on inside of that group.
Right.
It was just something that just happened. But, ultimately, I believe that
Hey, Rob, I ain't know what's going on, man. Yeah, that's how he was.
it was just fate and destiny that this was where we were supposed to be.
Johnny Gill, having released 2 solo albums to minimal success and not being well received by the public due to his contrasting image and voice, would accept the offer. The pairing of Johnny Gill and Stacey Lattisaw had been his most successful effort. Joining New Edition would prove to be the reintroduction he needed, temporarily halting production on his 3rd solo album under Motown. Meanwhile, Ralph Tresvant would approach Gerald Busby and MCA with Living in a Dream in hopes to release it. However, Gerald Busby, who was already aware of Johnny Gill's joining of New Edition, was more interested in another group album rather than Living in a Dream. Gerald also asserted that Ralph Tresvant was contractually bound to MCA and obligated to record another New Edition album. Under the circumstances, Ralph would not be able to secure a solo deal with another label without MCA's legal consent. Gerald would make it clear that he did not need a New Edition without Ralph Tresvant and enticed his involvement with the inclusion of Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis. Ultimately, Ralph would shelve Living in a Dream and return to the group to begin work on Heartbreak.
What happened was I was working on a project called Living in a Dream, and I was getting ready to actually release this album. And I was stepped to by MCA. And they basically kind of had it in a stronghold. I couldn't do music anywhere else because of the contract New Edition was in. But I could have done something with them. But they wanted me to wait till I did another New Edition album. Pretty much told me, if you hold out, I'll make sure you're good. Just do another New Edition album for me. And I said, okay, fine.
The legendary producers, Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis, were brought in to write and produce the vast majority of the album. Former member of the Time, Jelly Bean Johnson, would also contribute to the album, as well as frequent Flight Time collaborator Lisa Keith. Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis would start their career with my all-time favorite band, The Time, playing keyboard and bass guitar, respectively. By 1982, Jam and Lewis would start recording for other artists such as Change, Climax, and the SOS Band. The following year, their production and songwriting success would begin with Just Be Good to Me and Tell Me If You Still Care by the SOS Band. Just Be Good to Me was released as a single in 1983 and reached number 55 on the Billboard Hot 100 and number 2 on the R&B chart, while Tell Me If You Still Care reached number 65 on the Hot 100 and number 5 on the
I think this is the production that got him fired from The Time.
Their involvement with the SOS Band caught Prince's attention, whose banner Jam and Lewis were still under via The Time. They were not allowed to write or produce for outside acts, and in doing so, Prince fired them from The Time. Shortly thereafter, the success of the aforementioned song...
And in case you wondered, that's why they wasn't on the Purple Rain movie.
songs was enough to sustain their careers without Prince or The Time. Going on to work with Sherelle and Alexander O'Neal, enhancing their vocal talents, not only with their songwriting and production, but also their vocal arranging. Both artists would duet on Saturday Love, released as a single on October 16, 1985. It reached number 26 on the Hot 100 and number 2 on the R&B chart. That same year, Jem and Lewis would create the R&B classic love ballad, Tender Love, sung by the Force MDs. Tender Love will go on to be their highest charting pop hit to date, released as a single on December 5th, 1985, and reaching number 10 on the Billboard Hot 100. In 1986, Jem and Lewis would work with who will go on to become their musical muse, Janet Jackson, who had already released 2 albums, Janet Jackson and Dream Street, to minimal success relative to her brothers. Neither albums were able to capture her true attitude, nor were they songs she actually wanted to sing. Jimmy Jam and Terry
Oh, so lovely. She had a dad. She had a Janae Dubois play her mother in the video, man. I love the connection they had together for a while. I think they did something else together too, man. It was so nice. Their connection was so lovely.
Lewis were approached to work with Janet, and they would go on to create the Control album, spawning 7 singles, 5 of which reached the top 10 on the Billboard Hot 100, with When I Think of You reaching number 1. Jem and Lewis would further cement their status as bona fide hitmakers, producing Human League's 5th studio album, Crash, and writing their hit, Human.
Oh, yeah.
Released as a single on August 11th, 1986, and reaching number 1 on the Billboard Hot 100 and charting well worldwide. Throughout New Edition's career, they would be unhappy with their bubblegum pop sound and had longed to be given songs that reflected their age and maturity. Working with Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis was a match made in heaven, considering the transitional period the group was in. The prelude.
Somewhere I said that I wanted I did sometimes listen to their stuff. Though I wanted I low key if they ever released like it was like a drum album, like a producer kit out, man, like a drum kit or something like that, I'll buy it. I'll buy it just cause, man, cause they drums on their stuff back in the day was love. Their drum sounds when they were so lovely, man.
New Edition's first collaboration with Jam and Lewis would come in the form of Helplessly in Love, that appeared on the Dragnet film soundtrack in 1987. Work would begin on the Heartbreak album at Flytime Studios in Minneapolis. In the midst of recording, Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis would pause production, sensing tensions between Ralph and the other group members. Ralph would find out that Johnny Gill was now a member of New Edition without his opinion being considered.
And so when I got up to leave to go to Minneapolis, ecstatic, because we're getting ready to work with Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis, who at the time had become my favorite producers.
Right.
We're getting ready to go in the studio with the beasts right now. We're getting ready to do it.
Oh, if when y'all come down, was Johnny part in when they did Helplessly in Love, or this was like before they brought him in? Let me know below. I think he might have was part of it at the time. Yes.
Audition fitting to come up. All right, I'll do that album. So I get down to Minneapolis, and lo and behold, Johnny Gill's there.
He felt like he was being replaced because there was no communication between the 4 of us at the time. It was just a total breakdown in communication because we didn't find out that Ralph got offended until we were actually doing the movie.
I didn't realize that there were issues going on, obviously, until I actually got there. All hell broke loose. I'll never forget, Ralph was talking about, he had never agreed to this move and that he was not willing to split his money 5 ways again.
It came off like, F you, Ralph, we're putting Johnny in the group. We weren't thinking that then. We were thinking, how do we continue?
They had already been looking for a new lead singer, unbeknownst to me. So when I got to Minneapolis, Johnny was there as this new member / lead singer. They could feel the tension. That's what it was. There became a point where I was like, who's this? I'm barely talking to him, barely talking to them. There was that kind of tension at that point, I've heard and I know what it is. You're trying to replace me, Joe told me. They didn't say anything, and when he said to come down there, he didn't say that Johnny was coming down there either, nor did the rest of the group members. They hadn't told me that either. So when I got there, he was there. And I'm like, yo, what is going on?
Wow.
We're like, whoa, wait a minute now. Have you talked this over with the group?
You mean you didn't know about this?
And I don't even know if the group had any knowledge of it, but it was a really tense moment. And you could feel the tension because Ralph didn't know what was really going on.
He was like, you ain't tell this man that there was going to be another. And I was trying, and that's
how I
play
Jimmy Jam
I was trying, we was gonna, but we didn't have time because everybody was, that's getting in his whole bib thing.
What was it was very obvious. It was just real standoffish, no real camaraderie. It was a lot of just running through, walking through the motions. I'll put it that way. Well, everybody's slow to move, slow to this. Jimmy Jam and Jerry Lewis eventually pulled us to the side and said, man, look, they grabbed us all. They stopped on one session. We was coming to the studio, and they stopped the whole movement and said, look, we need to have a meeting. So we all sat down in one of the rooms, the conference room in Flight Time. And they put it out on the table, man, what's going on, man? This tension is so big, you can cut it with a knife, blah, 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 blah. They went down all the line, what's going on? So I spit what I had to say. Said, first of all, man, I don't appreciate how they just gonna come and bring in a member in the group. If Bob ain't coming back, nobody really talked to me about it. I hadn't had this conversation with anybody. I'm not cool with it. We hadn't talked about it. It was just kind of being done. What people don't realize is that when Johnny was brought to the table, he wasn't brought in to replace Bobby Brown. He was brought in to replace me. Johnny was brought in, and they finally sat us down. And when me and Johnny became, after that meeting, Johnny didn't know this. Johnny didn't even know that was going on. So that blew his mind when he was sitting in the meeting and heard all of that. We got together after that meeting. And we laughed, we talked, we went back and forth on just what these guys do and how they move. It's like, wow, I don't believe that. It's like, yeah, man, you wasn't brought in to replace Bobby. You was brought in to replace me.
I saw recently that they were just saying that they didn't know that, wasn't sure that or wasn't aware that what Ralph was talking about took place. Yeah. But I remember distinctively, I was there when the first day when we got into the whole shouting match and all that stuff. Ralph and I wound up, and it was so funny because we wound up talking like every day. Once we was finished from recording, we would go and sit down in his room. Remember when we was sitting there and just talking? Wow. And I remember when Ralph told me about the fact that he had all the things, the way he was being treated, and he was talking about the sacrifices that he had made with the fact that they was asking him to go.
This made me want to watch the movie. This made me want to watch the biopic again, for real, man. They did their thing with this biopic. It was like almost to the damn near to the T, man, for real.
Solo a long time ago, and he was like, everything was about, what are the guys gonna do? What are the guys gonna do? So the things you gotta understand when you're an artist, and Ralph was the lead singer, not being able to be free at some point creatively to do some things, and you have to stay in this this bubble and certain things because they had a sound, they had a style, so I think that was more frustrating for him more than anything. But I know we discussed it and we talked about it back then, so I was maybe they didn't, I don't know, but I was aware.
And we knew before we could even start any sort of creative anything, we needed to clear the air on that. Right. So we got in our conference room, and Johnny was sitting at the head of the table, and everybody sitting around the table. And we just said to Johnny, here's the deal, Johnny. You're not going to sing any songs on the album. Because this is Ralph's group, and that's the sound that everybody knows, and that's what it's going to be. So how you feel about that? And we didn't know what he was going to say. But Johnny said, hey, I'm cool, man. I'm a team player, man. Whatever you need, I'll do whatever it is. Well, as soon as he said that, everything in the room was cool. And actually, Ralph and Johnny turned into like the Mutual Admiration Society. Because Ralph would go in and sing like every background part, and then everybody would just kind of copy his backgrounds. But he'd go in for hours and, 6 hours and just do backgrounds. And Johnny would sit with us at the board and just go, man, how's he do that? I don't get that. And then Johnny would go in and do his thing, and he'd be quick. He'd be like a half hour maybe, but do his thing. And Ralph would go, man, I don't know how he does that. So it turned into a Mutual Admiration Society, and that's why that record got done.
The group, having finally addressed the issues and cleared the air, recording work would resume. The album starts with the perfect introduction that literally sets the stage for New Edition's return as a quintet. That's the Way We're Living, written and produced collectively by each member and co-produced by Jelly Bean Johnson. Fraught with cheers from an audience, the song simulates the energy of a live New Edition concert, making known the perfectionism that goes into New Edition's performances with lyrics. We're working hard.
I like how the whole album was like majority of the album including from like the beginning, most of the beginning part to like the end part of it as well too, being like something like they're on a tour. You know what I'm saying, because they was their best. That was where their money makers. Even like the early time when they were struggling in money, it was their money makers, and they still wasn't making enough money. Was their shows? So yeah.
hard. We're striving for perfection because that's the way we're living. Perfection's hard, that's why we're working overtime. A pledge that has remained true even to this day with performances nothing short of perfect for the fans. Midway into the song, a short break is taken for Jelly Bean Johnson's guitar solo. A rich listen due to the fact that Jelly Bean is known for his drumming skills, a true multi-instrumentalist. Ricky Bell sings a mantra that could be applied to anyone's life with lyrics, "It's up to you, so don't you let nobody tell you what to do. Make up your mind, cause life should be taken one day at a time." In the latter portion of the song, Johnny Gill makes his entrance with his strong vocals in full swing, coming to an abrupt end that's met with applause and setting the bar high for the rest of the album. The next song, Where It All Started, a lyrical response to their absence and to other artists who tried to copy their style, not realizing where it all started from. Strong statements backed up by stronger percussion. Because other people imitate and try their best to recreate, so they only perpetrate what they can never duplicate.
Yeah, that is one of my favorite songs on that. One of my favorite non-hit songs on the album was that one right there, though, man. Especially the little parts towards like before the last chorus they did, like they didn't play the clips of their earliest songs.
It's nice to be the original that all the counterfeits like to bite off. The song tips his hat to Candy Girl, Cool It Now, and Count Me Out, stating loud and clear that New Edition was and still is the definitive boy band that kicked down the door for other groups to follow. That's the way we're living is the arrival. Where it all started from was the introductory statement. If It Isn't Love comes next, which is the first true combination of Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis with New Edition in rare vocal form. The most mature iteration of New Edition's songs about love and heartbreak. The song's production and tempo complement the song's lyrics, going back and forth about his feelings for his past love interest, confessing that love has to be the cause for his turning emotions about her.
It's getting a little choppy. Let me do some. My bad. I had to close some windows down. It's starting to get a little choppy. We noticed though, but anyway, let's keep going.
How does it feel? I can't describe this feeling that came when I saw her last night. She got to me. I'll let you know the reason. I saw her with another guy. At the insistence of Brooke Payne, the song was produced with live choreography in mind.
When people ask about the little breaks in the song, where's the and all those kind of things like that, that was because Brooke Payne, as we were making the record, was always like, man, give me some stuff that, you know, I can do some choreography to, and, you know, blah, blah, blah. And we were like,
I want to say,
cool.
yeah, that's the thing about that, though, man. The fact that the song went along with the choreography, I be wondering, there's not something to think about that, dude. Like, choreographers or, like, people that like to dance, like to put in, input, like, the input and stuff, like, on a song to make them dance as well, too. So, yeah, that's something to think about a little bit.
With breaks in between to emphasize New Edition's movements on stage. The breaks can also be likened to a moment of clarity or an epiphany as it's followed by more honest confessions. Maybe she'll take me back. I made a big mistake. Now I can feel it. I really love her.
Love her.
The most sincere and relatable lyrics being, it took my heart to shatter in 1,000 pieces before I had ever dropped my pride. Losing love, worrying about my image really helped me realize. If It Isn't Love is a musical masterpiece and showcases the growth in Ralph's vocal ability in conjunction with the musical and lyrical environment Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis created for him.
They needed some up-tempo records that they could dance to and they could make great choreography to. So what we tried to do was do something very rhythmic, still very cool, have a great message in it. And Ralph is so silky on that song. Ralph floats across that song.
It would go on to become the album's most successful song, released as a single on June 9th, 1988, and reaching number 7 on the Billboard Hot 100 and number 2 on the R&B chart. The music video highlights New Edition's rigorous rehearsal process and their intricate and sharp choreography, staying true to New Edition's story and their return to the music scene. Beyonce would pay homage to If It Isn't Love in her music video for Love on Top, using the same theme. Much like Janet Jackson, where Jam and Lewis's songwriting was inspired by conversations they had with Janet, the same can be said for New Edition, particularly on Any Heartbreak, which details the struggles of being famous singers in the limelight. People think we don't get lonely, but we're far away from home. 1 minute, 20,000 people, but then they go home, we're alone. It's off to another city where everybody knows my name, but when I meet that perfect honey, is it me she wants or is it my fame? A team effort where each member shines and holds down their own verse. The song's highlight is Michael Bivins' rap verse, the song making a 360 turn and briefly going from R&B to rap. The music video.
The remix, it's the remix right here, but the original joint with the little rap at the end at the song. Whew, I kind of wish they can release that joint as that rap. That's just that rap part. Or somebody put that rap part on YouTube as a solo. That joint was lovely though, with the beatbox and all that. I was like, I think when I was trying to DJ that joint a couple of times, but yeah. Anyway.
Video finishes the
I
heartbreak.
think when my R&B old school joint DJ mix I did, I started out with that rap part from the end of it, then played the remix of Any Heartbreak
Saga, with New Edition returning home after touring. The group showing off their signature choreography and the theme mirroring the song's lyrics. The video featured Malcolm Jamal Warner, Robert Townsend, Heavy D, and Louis Ski from Soul Train. Any Heartbreak was the album's final single, released on June 16, 1989, and peaked at number 13 on the R&B chart. Any Heartbreak is followed by Crucial, written by Gary Johnson and Lisa Keith, produced by Jelly Bean Johnson. Ralph's vocal delivery is the song's true hook, showing off his vocal versatility amidst the smooth yet edgy production. What drove this song home for me was New Edition's live performance of the song, particularly at the 1989 Soul Train Awards. Ralph's ability to flow in and out of choreography is inspiring, so much so that the music video was a live taping of Crucial from the Heartbreak Tour. Released as a single on January 31st, 1989.
The album cover right there is always like my favorite album cover. That's like one of my favorite New Edition photo right there. When they in the locker room with the glasses on, that's like one of my favorite all-time New Edition photo right there. Well, too. The other one is stuff from the earlier 80s with early mid 80s stuff with Bobby. But this right here, out of this from this era, was my favorite. It's my favorite photo right there, man.
And it reached number 4 on the R&B chart. Crucial was also featured on the License to Drive film soundtrack. You're Not My Kind of Girl is one of the album's standout tracks. In the vein of If It Isn't Love, the song's production and instrumentation had choreography in mind. Loud drums begin the song with Johnny's voice faintly leading the way for Ralph to make his entrance. True to Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis's plan to slowly introduce Johnny Gill to listeners, Johnny Gill supports Ralph's vocals throughout the song, comparable to a duet. An interesting lyrical story is being told, where Ralph says to his love interest that she's not his kind of girl, that she's perfect just for another man. I know that you're attracted to me, and I should feel the same about you. There's just something wrong. I don't know what it is that keeps us from becoming it too. It's not your looks, it's not your style, it's not the way that you carry yourself, because you're the kind of girl that a man will be proud to call his own. But I've been in love before, so I know how it feels. The chemistry just isn't there. Ricky Bell comes in to steal the stage, adding an extra element to an already musical masterpiece, making it much greater. Sometimes a woman doesn't have that X factor, and she just doesn't do it for you. She'd be better off with another man. Amongst New Edition's many songs that I relate to, You're Not My Kind of Girl is one of them. Amongst the series of music videos for the Heartbreak album, You're Not My Kind of Girl is the climax. A peak performance, a peak in energy, and New Edition at their peak. Released as a single on September 6th, 1988, and reaching number 3 on the R&B charts. The energy is brought down and balanced out with Super Lady, another collective songwriting effort by New Edition. The song's mellow instrumental soothes the ear of the listener.
Fun thing about this right here. Oh, I almost went. Something popped on my phone. Fun thing about this, my mom originally got the album, the vinyl LP of this. That song wasn't on there. It took me years later when I started getting my New Edition binge again. I bought the tape or CD to have that song on there. And I'm so sad. I'm so irked that it wasn't on there because that song was bomb. That was a bomb song. I don't know why they had it as a bonus track for CD listeners only. That was the thing about. I think that was the thing about the 80s at the time. CDs would get exclusive shit because you can't put everything on our album. I think it's like that now too because I know some vinyls. When I saw vinyls at one of the Urban Outfitters, some albums had like songs that they had all these songs on there. That's interesting right there. I don't know something. I guess you can't put enough songs on the LP though, because a lot of like compared to CD, a lot of LPs have like more than one LPs for one album. Now because to compete with the CDs, it's interesting though.
Listener when Ralph starts it all off. The group's vocal harmony on the chorus is the song's anchor. segueing into the second verse where Ricky's falsetto cements what Ralph had to say with lyrics. Tell me that you'll always be around. Show me you care. Every man needs a super lady. A face comes to mind when Ralph says, heaven must have sent you, girl, to be with me for always, sharing all our fantasies. The saxophone solo towards the song's end adds to the romantic drama, followed by the repeating of New Edition's harmonies. Super Lady is one of my personal favorites from Heartbreak, and for sure one of the album's standout tracks. The album's 9th song is Can You Stand the Rain, engaging the senses with chirping birds that precede rainfall. Johnny Gill finally makes his arrival as a lead vocalist, stepping into the spotlight with his first verse, with Ralph joining in to share the vocal space. In the words of Jimmy Jam, Terry Lewis is lyric master, weaving a powerful message within the song. On a perfect day, I know that I can count on you. When that's not possible.
Once you go back real quick, this, like I said, this is the album. Like that's what he showed was the track, the CD listing. Look at the album listing. Remember the Super Lady comes on after You're Not My Kind of Girl. Well, I tell you, interesting, right? That's crazy, y'all.
Spotlight with his first verse, with Ralph joining in to share the vocal space. In the words of Jimmy Jam, Terry Lewis is lyric master, weaving a powerful message within the song. On a perfect day, I know that I can count on you. When that's not possible, tell me, can you weather the storm? Because I need somebody who will stand by me through the good times and bad times. She will always, always be right there. Can You Stand the Rain points out the fact that although relationships are beautiful, they don't come without their storms. Will she be able to weather those storms and be there when it rains? A definitive combination of Ralph, Johnny, and Ricky, who comes in towards the end of the song posing the question, tell me, can you stand it?
Can you stand the rain? This we know.
Yeah. See, it gets kind of cool and it gets kind of lonely.
Johnny gotta get the gospel landed. You gotta take it to church. You gotta take it to church.
Tell me, baby, can you stand the rain? Can you stand the rain?
Can You Stand the Rain is the album's definitive song and the one most associated with the album, going on to become a generational classic.
Yes, it
Released
is.
as a single on December 13th, 1988, and reaching number 44 on the Billboard Hot 100 and number 1 on the R&B chart. Can You Stand the Rain went on to be covered by Boyz II Men in 1997 on their album Evolution.
You know I'm laughing right. When he did the you know I'm laughing right. He told damn Tony Baker with the damn owls. Oh man, shout out to Tony Baker. I do miss do some Tony Baker videos, man. Is anybody still doing compilation, Tony Baker compilation? Comment down below, man. Oh man.
When that's not possible, tell me, can you weather the storm? Cause I need somebody who will stand by me through the good times and bad times. She will always be right there. Yeah, sunny days, everybody loves them. Come in, can you?
Of course, I'm quiet. The boys is killing it. The Wham Boys is killing it.
This we know for sure. Can you stand the rain?
Also featured in the 2013 film Best Man Holiday, where the characters put on an impromptu performance of the song. Competition is the next song on the album, Written by Ralph, co-produced by Ralph and Jelly
This was definitely a slept-on song right here where I heard it as well too, and then the one afterwards.
Bean Johnson. A heartfelt and sincere ballad detailing the interpersonal issues that separate people. Plagued by unfriendly competition, hoping that one day we can all find common ground and be as one. With lyrics, because if we all just take the time, I'm sure that we will find all of us shed blood of the same kind. And that's the bottom line. My favorite portion is Ricky's lyrics, if we're ever gonna be as one, we better make some changes and fast, and this time make it last. The long saxophone riffs complement the song's lyrical content. It's written that this song partly addressed Bobby's departure from New Edition years prior. The slow tempo of the album is maintained with I'm Coming Home.
Yes.
The song begins with 808s that lead into the light keyboards and smooth synthesizers. I'm Coming Home is a three-sided vocal performance from Ralph, Johnny, and Ricky, each giving the song a different look. Relatable lyrics, save tomorrow for me. I'm coming home to you. Since the day I left and you went on your own way, my life's just not the same. I'm needing you and longing for your touch. Can I get a message through? Ricky ties the knot on his verse in a way only he can, conveying his message on a high note. Johnny Gill makes his way into the song, and the song briefly takes the form of a solo Johnny Gill song, slowing down and repeating a way too long, missing you so, I'm coming home, showing off the song's third dimension. Home is where the heart is, and Ralph comes in to further emphasize that. The album rightfully ends with Boys to Men, a song that tells New Edition's coming-of-age story up until that point.
Watching this live performance here, when I rewatched this, got older, this live performance video right here, when I got a little older, I told you I wasn't born with Bobby Brown fan than Johnny Gill, but this rewatching this made me a bigger fan of Johnny Gill. Lord.
Johnny Gill takes the lead, with Ralph supporting with background vocals. So we search for answers to our questions. No answers, but we're taught a lesson every time. Through mistakes, we've learned to gather wisdom. Life's responsibility falls in our hands. Keep on learning, keep on growing, because wisdom helps us understand. The goals we set may exceed reality, because failure always is a possibility. Boys to Men accurately details the personal struggles and obstacles young men face coming up through life.
Yep.
Johnny Gill didn't like the song, saying he'd rather have sang Can You Stand the Rain on his own rather than Boys to Men.
Here, Jam just hit me now and says, ask him why did he hate singing Boys to Men.
Oh, that's the song.
Yeah.
Dang, Johnny.
Yeah. You know,
before I go there, before I listen to this, I'm gonna go there. Why is it that the song that is so damn successful and so popular be a song that didn't like that the artist didn't like? They originally did not like or was against. Like, why it always be like that, yo? Seriously, yo. What is up with that pattern? It's like a crazy pattern. Shoot, maybe one of the beats I made that I was not too fond of that I just throw on there might become a popular song, man. I don't know, because why it be like that, yo? For real.
when Terry told me, he said, you're probably not going to sing any songs on the album. And then I wind up start singing these songs like Can't You Stand in the Rain and doing ad-libs and all that stuff. And I'm going, shoot, I'm thinking, why can't you just sing that song? So,
right.
And out of all those great songs, the very last song that they decided they was going to let me do a full lead on was Boys to Men. So I'm going, oh, this is some political bullshit. I was like, okay, really? I think they just messing with me now because they just, and I said, oh, okay, so they're going to give me this piece of bull. Sing as a whole full song, and so I said,
like
you know
his
what?
messages in the song.
Wait, time out. Wait, time out though.
He said, right, time out. Yo, Johnny, here. It's so funny hearing Johnny in his interview sometimes. I mean, you would not think he's hilarious with his interviews. He's hilarious sometimes with his interviews, but I swear. All right, let's keep going.
All right.
And so I was mad. I was really mad. Like, angry.
Trying to tell you to grow up?
But wait a minute. Listen, it's 19... All right, the album came out in 87, correct?
88.
Yeah, 88.
It's 80. So I'm assuming you recorded it in 87?
Yeah.
Okay, so Jam and Lewis are at the height of their powers at this point.
Yeah.
You had an opinion on a Jam and Lewis song?
Yeah.
In 87?
Yeah, because you got to remember, I had already sang on Can You Stand the Rain and You're Not My Kind of Girl.
And Any Heartbreak.
Any Heartbreak. And they let me unleash. And then it was like, okay, now we're going to give you a song for yourself. And I'm going, the hell? Like, really? I just said, okay, so you want to play with me? I said, I'm going to sing the shit out of this song.
Yep.
So I'm going to show y'all about fucking with me.
Yo.
Yep.
And that's why I
Fair
went in there.
use, Bill.
I was mad.
Fair use.
Hold on.
And I sang.
That's why he takes it to church on that song, and the live performance. Oh my God, he takes it to church on live performance.
Bad as hell. I was like, okay, yeah, you want to play with me?
That was you mad?
That was me mad.
Wow.
I don't know. I kept thinking, man, this is bullshit. All these good songs, they gonna give me this one?
Nonetheless, the song's impact would transcend the group and its time, with future R&B group Boyz II Men naming themselves after the song. Heartbreak would go on to be certified double platinum, becoming the group's definitive album. The group would reunite with Bobby Brown, who had released his second solo album, Don't Be Cruel, for the Heartbreak Tour.
Al B is great, New Edition, that is a great package. It really is.
It's a heartbreak package.
Yeah,
Bobby Brown would reach superstardom, which further fueled the group to pursue solo careers heading into 1990. If you made it to the end of this video, I hope you enjoyed it.
Cool.
Please be sure.
Yeah, with that tour right there, I'm showing my age again. Little 5 years old me, my mom and my stepdad at the time took me to the Spectrum to see New Edition, a Bobby Brown New Edition. And when I say Bobby Brown New Edition, because I be sure it was a no-show because he was sick or something like that. Judging from the biopic, he probably was nervous and called out. But still, I remember my mom saying she was pissed that I'll Be Sure wasn't a no-show. Because she was a big fan of I'll Be Sure. She had a big crush on I'll Be Sure. But yeah, she was pissed about that. But she enjoyed it though. Oh man. But yeah, that tour, that show was lovely, man. My big first concert, it was that, and the other one was a Whisper concert. But that was my first memorable concert. I was lucky enough at the age of 5, possibly 6. No, 5. 5 years old to go see at the Spectrum. Yes. Anyway, Ticketmaster was just through Ticketmaster. I remember everything about that though too. Went to there, man, the Spectrum. Other than that, good video as well too. I might have a little bit of time to do the Bobby Brown one. I can see. Let's see what's going on in the white feed. But other than that, if you like my reaction, like, share, subscribe to my YouTube channel. It's your boy T-Verson and off. One love.